Election fever has kicked in for Canada after the new Prime Minister formally announced early polls snap elections will be taking place on April 28th. In just over 1 month, Canada will elect a new government at a time when the country is embroiled in a trade and territorial standoff with the United States. Mark Carney, in his speech on Sunday, had said that Canada will never be owned.
President Trump claims that Canada isn't a real country. He wants to break us so America can own us. We will not let that happen.
In recent months, U.S. President Donald Trump has openly expressed his desire to annex Canada as a 51st state of the United States. Trump had followed up these remarks by imposing tariffs on Canadian goods, including a 25% tariff on steel and aluminium imports. Carney, who has no prior electoral experience, ran for a seat in Nepean, Ontario, marking his debut in parliamentary politics. The election campaign will unfold over 37 days and involve all 343 constituencies. Just ahead of the snap elections, the ruling Liberal Party had soared in its popularity after witnessing a downfall since 2022. Now, according to the latest poll, 39% favor the Liberal Party. The Conservative Party trailed just 2% behind at 37%. Meanwhile, the New Democratic Party, which pulled its support from the Trudeau government, stands at 11%. Dean Baxendale is a publisher and global columnist, Sunday Guardian. He is also a political and policy analyst. He is now joining us live from Toronto. Mr. Baxendale, thank you very much for making time for us and welcome to WION World is One. What do you think the political scenario will look like in Canada in the next 37 days? And do you think Canadians still have trust in the Liberal Party?
First of all, thank you for having me here today. That is the million-dollar question. Mark Carney won in a landslide with 85% of the voters in the Liberal Party voting for him to become Prime Minister, at least for 45 days or so. And now we're engaged in a election, a battle that pundits and everybody are calling the most important election of our time. Of course, every election is the most important, but this one is particularly so. So I think that the rise of Mark Carney and the Liberal Party has given Canadians a new choice, and of course he is going away from every single Liberal policy that Justin Trudeau had put in place for the last 8 years, dialing back on the carbon tax, also on the capital gains tax, which was set to go in effect to tax investors at 37% of their capital gains. So these are all things that were upsetting people within the country. In an instant, Mark Carney annexed the tax, which took away a huge platform and plank in the Conservative Pierre Poilievre campaign strategy. And now Canadians, faced with the potential annexing of Canada by Donald Trump, are looking at the Liberals all of a sudden as an answer to this.
Mr. Baxendale, let me ask about Poilievre, because nothing much has been said about the opposition candidate. And, you know, for Mark Carney, he's made his point clear that he's the right guy to deal with Donald Trump, but have not had anything from Poilievre. What are his chances?
Well, I think Pierre Poilievre, the Conservatives, about 2 months ago, had a 29-point lead in the polls. To see this kind of evaporation of a lead based on Mark Carney presenting himself as some sort of panacea to voters in Canada is really, really an interesting turn of events. But Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives had positioned themselves really as attack dogs really going after the Justin Trudeau brand, going after the carbon tax, and going after investment in the energy sector. These things, all of a sudden, Mark Carney has negated in his platform. But Pierre Poilievre, again, I think we're seeing right now this honeymoon period with the Liberals. I think once we get embroiled in the election, Pierre Poilievre is going to come out strong and defend the values for Conservatives and Canadians. In the backdrop of this, of course, is a geopolitical war between China and between the United States, to which Canada is caught in the middle. The Liberals moved very close to the Chinese Communist Party over the last 20 years and moved investments as a counter, actually, to the United States. But 80% of our two-way gross domestic product relies on our relationship with the United States. So Pierre Poilievre has to frame things that he's going to defend Canada, that he has a new way that bridges and really runs a tightrope with respect to America, their interests in Canada, China, their interests in Canada, and come out with a pro-Canada strategy.
Mr. Dean Baxendale, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for all your insights and for talking to WION World is One today.
Thank you. You're welcome.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.